I didn't have to look at my notes. Get to know. We're going to rebrand this show GTK and Round Rock High School GTK. So we're so glad you're here. Hopefully you have survived so far a virtual school, and here we are. But I am Jameson McGaffey, the Director of Choirs at Round Rock High School, and with me, my fearless compatriot, Miss Anara Witcher, our Associate Director. How you doing, Anara?
Oh, you know, it's a Monday, end of week one, starting week two. Doing pretty good, actually.
So, being a first-year teacher, how obviously weird beyond all get out, but how are things going so far?
I think the hardest part is that I have to break all of the rules that I feel like I know and everything that I learned the past 4 years, and really just kind of embrace the idea that none of this is normal and not everything that I know is going to work here. So it's been a lot of experimenting with new ways of teaching and figuring things out that I don't know yet. So it's been a good experience so far. Hopefully it'll get easier in the coming weeks, not just for me, but for everybody. But you know, pretty good. Could be worse.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Going into year 12 of teaching in the secondary level. I taught obviously in grad school and a little bit in undergrad with magical, but it is so vastly different and requires such a different approach. Someone was saying the other day, it's 5 times the prep for a fifth of the product.
I agree with that wholeheartily. You know, I only have to say you're on mute about 50 million times a day, so you know, we're getting there.
You're on mute. I think I'm going to find some way to digitally impose above the Round Rock Choir Rocks sign put on there. You're on mute.
You're on mute.
There,
I love it.
Yeah, so obviously you can tell we're in different locations today because we are back here on campus in the choir room. I'm in the room with all of our lovely chairs spaced out, and Miss Witcher is in the office, which looks the same. You got the lovely mirror and piano back there. Not in land of cats, because your cats hang out in your room and my cats hang out in my room. In the office. So yeah, just this episode is just kind of checking in and seeing how things are going. I hope everyone is finding Schoology and or various management systems that you may use, from Music First to Google to all the things that help school work. I hope you're finding them navigable. That's a word, right? Strategery. I think Anara, for all of her hard work to make the Dragon Choir Schoology folders make sense, because I was not in the right mind space during training to make that happen. But
you know, it's a process, but we make it work. This morning I had to go and like unlink all of the this week's and then relink the new this week.
Yeah, she did that all this morning. Right?
Yeah, I did not want to do it last night. I came in early and did it because I didn't want to do it last night.
Yeah, this is the first time I've had an assistant that gets here before I do. It's weird. It's very weird.
He shows up and I'm just sitting here like hunched over my desk like a gremlin. I'm sorry, you have to walk into that every morning.
You're usually actually bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I'm the one that's like,
good.
So let me ask you. So as we're moving forward and teaching and barreling forward towards when we have hopefully some other bodies in this campus and in here in the building. But what is your official take on the bad word of virtual choir?
I think that where we're at right now, virtual choirs are in a lot of cases a necessary evil. It gives us a lot of maybe not in the same way, but it still gives us that performance opportunity and the opportunity to work towards something and to share our end goal. Without a goal in mind, I think that teaching and learning in general is really difficult. In your math classes and your science classes and whatever else, your goal is to make it to the exam, and then you can forget all the math you just learned. At least that was my tactic. But in music, what we're working towards is always that performance, that next time we get to sing and share that. So I think that without that goal in mind, it all feels a little more meaningless. So right now we're working on the TMEA music, and we are working towards that competition step, which is a great goal to have. And for those who live, breathe, and sing TMEA music, that's a really fun goal to have. But I know that for maybe some younger singers who haven't really caught the bug yet, the TMEA bug yet, or, you know, for those who just never really were that interested, having some kind of performance goal in mind is just crucial. So I don't love virtual choirs, and every time someone mentions it, I have to give a big old eye roll. You know, it's just, it's internal, it just happens. But it is, we need something to work towards.
Yeah, it's,
so that's just me.
You know, my take on it is, you know, we can make it look flashy and do all these things, but that's going to take so much more time and effort than I want to put into editing. I mean, I barely get these things edited without screw ups. So,
remember that time you deleted the whole episode when we re-record it?
Let's not talk about that. But it's a thing that, you know, as time has progressed, you know, there's some people, not me, have come up with faster and easier ways to do this, and to make them faster. You know, everyone uses Eric Whitaker, his worldwide virtual choirs as the
which he's been doing for like 10 years, right? Something like that.
He's been doing them forever. So, and they're still every single, it's funny when in March, when they started talking about virtual choir as this is our new option, and he even went, whoa guys, and people were asking him on like a daily basis, how do you do yours? And he's like, every single one had been different. How they captured the video, how they did the backing tracks, how they did, every single one was different. And so yeah, you know, you can go to like what Reagan did in the spring with Legacy, and just take the acapella app and just do our best to layer them together and line them up. Or, I mean, we can still use the acapella app, but we can use Zoom and other things to put the smaller groups together, and then you put that video that we compressed into one section or whatever. You could be fancy like the district did with, which I say fancy, they didn't even sync it up right, but it got the job done. I mean, that's the thing. It's hard. It requires in a weird spot. And I've said this all along. When it comes to our profession, choral music is the original. Because before someone banged a rock against an animal hide to make a drum, they made sound with their voice. There's an awesome, if you've never seen Mel Brooks' History of the World Part 1, there's not a Part 2, there's just Part 1, don't worry. But Mel Brooks is the most irreverent comedian, director, story writer in the world. Those who don't know, he did the producers and the movie Spaceballs and all sorts of Blazing Saddles. Most of them are inappropriate actually all of them are inappropriate for a school setting. We can take little bits and pieces of things, but the opening sequence of History of the World was when man created music, and the caveman drops a rock on his friend's foot, and he starts screaming, and then he tries to cover him up, and he realizes he covers his mouth, and the sound stopped. And he screams at a different pitch when he drops a rock on the other foot. And so they have a whole group of cavemen with rocks and cave people singing Hallelujah Chorus, just being hit with rocks all over the place. It is.
So it's kind of like handbells, but like rocks on your foot.
Yeah.
So handbells, but more painful.
And so, but we're in this weird spot because we are not as visible. What we do, everybody, some people think anyone can do it. Well, that's wrong. Just because I can't, well, actually, it's not wrong. Anybody can sing. Not everyone can sing well. And just because you can sing Beyonce
does not mean that you should
sing Beyonce. And so it's this weird world we live in. And you know, when bands and marching bands took over, you know, if you ask Mozart or Bach or Haydn or Beethoven or even, you know, heck, even you know, more modern composers, that they wouldn't even know what a wind band is, much less marching band. God forbid. Let's not talk, I mean, I love marching band to death, but you were in marching band.
I was in marching band.
Yeah, it's a great musical outlet, but these composers didn't think about that. And an interview I did with John Mackey once, he moved to Texas because he writes like exclusively for wind band. And he's like, well, I have to come to Texas, which is wind band Shangri-La. And he came and was a composer in residence at UT. And then he was like, you guys are crazy. I'm out of here. Because it's just this cultish kind of thing, kind of like football. And I say that saying that band and football are tied together because of Friday Night Lights. And therefore, drill team and dance is easier seen because it's tied to football and Friday Night Lights, because football is that community event that makes everything so important. It just ties the community together. And in times like this, when we just were latching onto human contact, I mean, I love my family, but I've been around them too much. And I mean, you've said the same thing. It's like you're moving this weekend is a good thing because
oh yeah,
you get to have your space again. When we're latching on to community, those are important things. But that also makes genres like theater, or arts genres like theater and just studio art and orchestra harder to be seen in our media world today. There's 11 billion TV channels, and that doesn't count just the streaming only stuff.
Yep.
So we have to work twice as hard to be seen. We had a conversation with our dance director today saying, you know, she's like, well, is there a way for y'all to figure out how to so y'all could start practicing, y'all could, you got to get the national anthem worked up. It's not as easy as that, but yeah, you know, there are ways we have to be twice as creative to make ourselves seen and known. And hey, remember, we're still pretty big too. We're still important, and again, anyone can do it. And that's the joy of this profession. Anyone can do it. So not everyone can or should play a trumpet.
I should not play a trumpet.
I tried. Sounded like a dying cat. It's horrible. That's one of my few regrets in my life. I wish instead of taking brass tech or brass private lessons for my music ed degree, I should have taken strings.
We had to do both. So we did like a couple weeks we did everything. So we had woodwinds, and then we had brass, and then we had strings for the last, I think, 4 weeks. And then the next semester, I ended up taking a full semester of cello because I could. So I can play a full D scale on a cello poorly. That's what I took from it.
You had to take a private lesson for one semester in one family, and then you took for vocal. Obviously, band, they had to do everything. But for vocal, we took. You had to take the tech class for the other, which was you learned 3 instruments of the family. So I did brass. So I took a trumpet 115 private lesson, and most days I'd walk in and my grad student professor would go, so we're going to count today, senior boy. I'm like, yes, sir, because if you didn't know, seniors don't know how to count. We have problems. We like to feel. We're all hippy-dippy. But I have, you know, my conducting professors have said I have an impeccable sense of time, probably because of that lesson that I learned. We're going to count today. But then I took a woodwind tech, so I learned flute, clarinet, and saxophone. I think I did tenor sax. It's either, I don't know. We had all the saxes, but they're all the same. It's just adjust your fingers a little bit. And then we had like a 2 lesson practice on double reed, which was slow. I couldn't even get the reeds to vibrate.
See, I think double reed was the easiest one for me. I could not tell you why, but bassoon apparently is my calling.
My embouchure is terrible. But actually, I will say this: the flute part taught me how to whistle. Up until, early 2000s, I didn't know how to whistle.
I still cannot whistle. And my freshman year of college, my voice teacher assigned a song that had a whistling section. She said, "Oh, you'll learn." And then we got to my jury and they called the song, and then I hummed that part. And they were like, "Anara, you're supposed to whistle there." And I said, "Yeah, I can't whistle." He was like, "I thought she could learn." Couldn't learn. Turns out some people just can't whistle.
Yeah, my wife can't whistle. My mom can't whistle either. She can do like fingers in her mouth, like shrill, like.
Oh, I wish I could do that.
But she can't, and she has to do it like this. She can't do it like this. It's weird, but she can't normal whistle. But it was the flute embouchure helped me do that, and then I worked at a car dealership and I just practiced over and over again, drove people nuts. So I wish I had taken the string tech, being a conductor, and how much I work with strings. The scale, I can't see the scale on a stringed instrument like a guitar or violin. It just, I don't see it. I understand how it works, but I can't see it. I can see the scale on a piano. I can see a scale with a fingering chart. It's just solfege for, it's over there. Solfege, ow! Solfege for instrument.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so it's easy to walk into a instrumental room to see the need for those things. It's, when everyone can do it, it's harder, and it makes this world, the world we live in, very interesting and very trying at times. But also, I think it's also making our jobs easier at times as well. I can't imagine what our instrumental colleagues are going through right now, trying to figure out how to put PPE on horns and tubas. And, I mean, like the sousaphones themselves. I mean, that's a really big mask. Or a flute. That's a really awkwardly shaped mask. What did you play again?
In band?
Yeah.
I was color guard. I can't play any instruments. I could throw a flag and only hit myself in the head 50% of the time. That was my skill.
And grad school, I took organ. I did do that. And I will attribute that to my halfway proficient use of keyboard.
Nice.
That I had to, and I actually went and practiced all the time.
Mm-hmm.
My key to the organ practice room. But yeah, guys, the biggest takeaway through all this is singing and music is 100% absolutely necessary, and you don't have to have a crazy mask like Lady Gaga to make it happen. Those who didn't watch the VMAs last night, I didn't watch them because I could care less. I listen to talk radio about sports. But I did see clips of it, and she had this electronic, it's crazy. It put messages on it. I can't even imagine how much it costs. The Dragon Choir mask costs $5, so that's good. You see pictures of it?
Yeah. That's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah. And she's dancing. It looks like a half of a gas mask, and then it's got LEDs. I can't even imagine. But
That's crazy.
ultimately as we move forward to towards September 15th and coming back live, and know that we don't have the full schedule yet. We don't know. What we do know is for a while it's still going to be the same. But here soon, really soon, I'm anticipating middle of September, towards the end of September, we will be back in some capacity, in some size, actually singing in the choir room. Based on conversations we've had over the last several weeks in our leadership teams. And so what that means is we have to be responsible and we have to hold each other accountable. So, again, you're dying for social contact. And I've seen, you see it at the colleges where they get to college, they want their normal college life where they go to West Campus or wherever it is at Texas State or the lawn next to the river and hang out and party and do your thing and whatever that is. We can't do that yet. And we have to remain vigilant and social distance and do our part. Wear your mask and wash your hands. Yeah, mine's on the desk. But we, here on campus, yes, when we're teaching, we don't have our masks on, but me and Miss Witcher are in different rooms. And, but when we're in the same room, we wear masks. Unless it's a brief thing, we're running in to make an announcement so we can both be on the same screen or something.
Or make coffee behind me while I'm teaching.
So we have to remain vigilant and we have to do our part. And if we follow our rules, it'll be fine. We're seeing that. We're seeing the numbers drop. We're seeing those things so that we can get back to what we care about and doing the things we care about, whether it is sports, whether it is singing in a concert or putting on a play or going to church in a regular manner. I sing every Sunday, and it's weird singing to an empty room. I do it every day because it's now I'm used to it, but singing to empty chairs. And now it used to, when we first went into quarantine, it was really funny because we put faces on all the chairs, like cartoon faces and printouts and stuff, so we could see. And some people came in and actually, it was like sporting events. Like I could pay $50 to get my cutout of me at the UT football games. Mary's like, "Do you really want to do that?" I'm like, "No, unless I'm hanging out with McConaughey, then probably." But it was there for a while. Now we took them down, so when people start actually showing up, which they're starting to, but it's still not the same. And we will be back, and we will be singing "Sleep" and "One Call Away" and "Oh Sing to the Lord" and "You Will Not Walk Alone," and we'll find that thread of joy in life and ride the chariot to home. I'm trying. I'm horrible.
No, it was so bad.
So bad.
But thank you. It was bad.
Count on us. Count on us.
No.
And when we get back, it'll be a big carnival.
Go to your corner. Go to your corner and think about what you've done.
See, I'm the boss. I don't have to go to the corner. I'm surrounded by women that just torture me every day, all day. It's wonderful. I love it. But yeah, I mean, virtual choir wise, I mean, I think, yeah, I agree with you. They're to tie it back to what we were kind of doing. This is like normal life for me, where I just go on a tangent, I just keep going. Eventually, I'll tie it back.
He finds his way back. It's like Hansel and Gretel. We left cookies in the forest, and he found them.
I think virtual choirs, I roll my eyes too. I can't.
It's like just an instinct. You hear the words, and you're like, oh, Oh wait, no, don't do that.
because it's those who know how much work they are, know how much it takes on the back end and the front end, behind the scenes to make that happen. But I actually, I'll do this. I'll blame Glee. It's Glee's fault because Glee came out, and one, when it first came out, that was like, I think it was my last year in grad school. It might have been the first year of teaching. But when it came out, and I watched like a couple episodes, and I couldn't watch anymore. Now I've gone back and watched more, but I couldn't watch the episodes because one, it's too much teenage angst that I already dealt with on a regular basis. I'm like, I can't do that. But it created a false sense of what we do. So we can show, we can't, there's not even a professional choir can't just show up and immediately know full choreography and dance down the hall. There was I think it was the 90s movie, Not Another Teen Movie, where they're sitting there and they're at the spring dance or prom or whatever, and they're all dancing to this like super choreographed thing, and the DJ looks at the new kid and goes, "Yeah, you wouldn't have known that. Everyone here is a professional dancer." It takes hours and hours of rehearsal and stuff to put that together, and then that's not even count the prep work that the directors and the section leaders and teachers have done, and the prep work that the students and singers have put in outside of that rehearsal time. We can't just show up and do it. We could, it just wouldn't be good. And here in Dragon Nation, we don't do anything that's not the best. So it's important to make sure that we're doing good. So we do have a couple of the physical virtual choir projects in the works. From Muse doing a collaboration with Vista Ridge, which we're really excited about, singing "Will the Circle Be Unbroken," and that one's going to be really exciting once we kind of move on towards that. We got one with Showstoppers that we're working on. We may do one with the super group, but I don't know. We got some things to create community, and of course the drive-in concert that we're still planning. I don't have any other details because we're kind of it's too hot. I woke up this morning, it was like dark outside and it's still 90 degrees. What's wrong with Texas? God.
A lot. Although I will say, I think it's Tuesday next week. The high is 82 and the low is 60. 60 is the low. I'm very excited.
Come on.
And I think it's Wednesday.
We need this high pressure system needs to go away. Go home. No one likes you.
Mr. McCafferty, I have a question, and it's more of like a personal question. What temperature do you and your family keep your house at during the summertime?
We usually keep it in the house around 74, 75.
Okay.
I could live with it colder. My mom keeps her house at a balmy 68 degrees at all times.
See, I like it cooler in the house. My mother keeps our AC at 80.
Yeah, that's insane.
At 80. And she's like, no, that's normal. I'm like, it's not normal.
I'm sweating thinking about that.
Right?
Now, we set it in the winter, we set it to 78, 80.
Yeah, I just don't turn my heater on in the winter. I live it in 30 and just kind of blink it up.
But I'd much rather, you haven't really gotten to see this, but I sweat a lot. I'm not on Babcock level of sweat. That man needs an IV during a concert at all times. He needs it to his body. But I do sweat quite profusely. And
so glad to know.
And I used to not be able to sleep at night because I sweated so much. But we've kind of gotten past that. And but we have fans that turn on that we keep on at night to keep us cool. But we keep it at that temperature out of cost saving measures. But I will say this: when we go visit my mom, we have to bring long johns. That's how it's July.
Oh God, I wish I could live that life.
No, I grew up there and it was always cold, but that's a level of cold that I can't deal with. It's too cold.
I'd say like my perfect temperature to exist in is about 50 degrees. That's where I'm happiest. I have to wait till the winter for that, but when it happens, I'm very happy.
Chicago's probably the town for you.
Oh yeah, New England, the Northeast area, that's where I really should live, but I'm probably not gonna leave Texas because we do choir right here.
Because we're better than everybody.
We'll give you that our choirs are better than everybody. I will not say that Texas is better than everybody.
Minus the weather, I would say everything else. Food's better.
The food is better.
The food's better. The sports is better. The community's better. We're nicer to people.
Sometimes.
You can find a bad nut out of everything. Blind squirrel finds a nut every now and then. Yeah, I can find good food in New York or Chicago, but on the whole, we're talking on the average. Just give me some Texas barbecue. We're good.
I need the Tex-Mex. I need the Mexican food available. Other states just don't have that.
We got to have queso. Come on. This melted cheese. No, stop.
So there is this podcast. It's one of my favorites. It's called My Favorite Murder. I feel like your wife probably listens to it or knows of it.
Probably.
Anyway, so I was listening to this episode a couple months back, and they were talking about how they had just discovered queso, and I realized, like, for the first time, not like I didn't know it, but really fully realized for the first time that other states don't have queso, and I felt so sad because they're in California.
Oh God, it's just.
And they don't have queso. I felt so sad for them.
I feel really bad for Robin Connor. She's the former theater director at Chisholm, and her husband is a theater teacher. Is actually now a theater professor up in Pennsylvania at college.
Okay.
She lived her entire life in Texas. So the two things that get her through the day are queso and Dr. Pepper. She moved to Pennsylvania, where they have neither. She's like,
I'm sorry, they don't have Dr. Pepper in Pennsylvania?
In her area, they don't. So Dr. Pepper is very special with where they distribute to. So it's kind of like there are beers out there that you can't get in certain places of the country because their distributor doesn't distribute to there. And it's not that so there are parts of the country that does not have Dr. Pepper, which still doesn't help that we're in a Dr. Pepper. How did we get into a Dr. Pepper shortage? That's just not human.
Wait, we're in a Dr. Pepper shortage?
Yeah.
Huh. I had no idea.
Yeah, there was a TikTok about it the other day, and I asked my wife about it. She goes, "Oh yeah." I'm like, "How?"
No, but actually, I think it's I heard something about like the carbonation, like carbonated stuff is going to be in shortage, and I don't remember the reason, but I do remember someone saying that. But why specifically Dr. Pepper?
I don't know. One more thing, Waco screwed up.
Oh, don't make me Waco.
For all you Baylor people and all you fans of Chip and JoJo, just joking. There's plenty of.
I love how he goes like from Texas is the best, go Texas to heckin' Waco, like Waco.
Hey, I could say this. Hey, that's a thing of I can make fun of them, just like I can make fun of my brother, but
nobody else can. Yeah,
no one else can. I can. We can all make fun of College Station equally. But
we can all make fun of Mr. McCafferty equally.
Right. It's not cool. Like if France wants to start making fun of actually, if they're gonna make fun of Oklahoma, I'll be okay with that. But if they start making fun of New York or something else, I have a problem. I get to make fun of them for that. So yeah. Family.
I feel like people don't make fun of Texas that are outside of the U.S. I feel like in Europe, they're just confused by Texas. I think we just confuse them, which I'm honestly okay with.
Yeah. They've watched too much TV of just like too much Walker, Texas Ranger, and Dallas that think we just ride up horses. And that's an actual thing. It's weird. It's very weird. So, hey, this episode, you got to get to know a lot more than you bargained for, I'll tell you what.
Yeah. I'm so sorry.
So we can actually load this onto a thing. I think we should probably wrap it up. But hey guys, keep chins up, keep staying the course. We'll have another episode out, hopefully with a guest. We'll see. If not, it'll just be the two of us again. Maybe we'll be back in swing of things. But make sure you like and subscribe in all the normal locations: Instagram, YouTube, our Podbean audio podcast, and keep singing, keep practicing, and we'll talk to you in the next episode. We love you guys.
Yeah.
Bye.